Reynolds, Lively against Baldoni. The truth. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. One of the huge advantages of my work is that when you've established that you're dealing with a narcissist, this allows you to interpret past behaviour so you understand it. It also gives you a very good basis for understanding what the narcissist will do next. I regularly utilise that expertise to advise people with regard to situations where they can't totally go no contact with the narcissist. For instance, they're going through a divorce, they're trying to get property from the narcissist, they've got a child custody dispute, it's somebody that they're having to work with until they can perhaps look at getting a job elsewhere and so forth. Being able to predict the narcissist's behaviours and understand what they're doing is absolute platinum graded information for people. And the reason why so many people come to consult with me to gain that assistance. It's almost like looking into a crystal ball and explaining to somebody, this is what you can expect to happen next. And just as importantly, what won't happen. Because often, because of the myths that generate around narcissists, people think that the narcissist will do certain things when in actual fact they're unlikely or won't do it. And having that knowledge is just as helpful, comforting and assuring as understanding what they are likely to do. With this information, it enables me to unravel the behaviours that go on, particularly in relation to famous people, whereby we may not always be party to precisely what has occurred, but we can make a very good approximation of it as a consequence of the fact that we know that a narcissist is involved. And if you've been following my detailed analysis of Ryan Reynolds and detailed analysis of Blake Lively, you will know that I determined that both Lively and Reynolds are narcissists. And that means they're both unaware of what they are unaware of their pathological need for control, the necessity of the provision of fuel, the acquiring of character traits, and the importance of residual benefits to them. They are two different narcissists, occupying the same major school, but different sub-schools. With that knowledge, this helps us understand what's really gone on between those two and Justin Baldoni. You are familiar with the fact that Baldoni and Lively worked together on the production It Ends With Us, until it all went horribly wrong. She alleged that he sexually harassed her, he denied that, and then he claimed that her and Reynolds defamed him and were involved in essentially seeking to extort his situation and him for material gain. PR has flown back and forth, allegations have been issued, counter-allegations have been issued, denials have been issued, and lawsuits have appeared. The court of public opinion seems to lean in favour of Baldoni. But what really went on? What precipitated this fallout? What are the driving behaviours behind it? Why did Reynolds get so involved? Well, knowing the narcissism of Reynolds and Lively, it helps us understand what's more than likely to have occurred here and the truth of the matter. The fact is that when people are working on a production where they are acting, it will often involve closeness. Not only physical proximity, but intimate situations, where although it's acting, there may be physical intimacy that takes place with kissing, simulated sex. There may be very emotionally intense scenes of abuse, scenes of love, scenes of violence, scenes of reconciliation. All of this can cause the creation of a situation that is both intense and sustained, whereby, with all of the excitement and glamour that goes with this industry and the adoration that can come with a successful outcome, that two people put into this environment suddenly find themselves attracted to one another. In a way, it's kind of human nature. After all, you're spending a lot of time together. You get to know this person. You may find them kind and interesting and entertaining and fun. The line becomes blurred between a simulated kiss and one that you'd like to be real. After all, you are kissing them, even if it is a stage kiss. The amount of time that you're spending together means that you see a lot of this individual and they see a lot of you. And it's no surprise that many romances blossom behind the scenes in respect of people that meet on set. However, it's also the case that it becomes a hunting ground for the narcissist. And what's clear to me is that the nature of this production has thrown Baldoni and Blake Lively together. Baldoni is objectively a handsome man. He's married to someone else, but that doesn't matter to a narcissist such as Lively, for her sense of entitlement and lack of boundary recognition means that if she wants something, she'll go after it. Given her status as a lower mid-range narcissist, she's not going to be overly obvious about it. And it's likely that her narcissism has propelled her to what people would describe as catch feelings, but instead cause her to have a degree of infatuation towards Baldoni. Remember, the narcissist will struggle to distinguish between what is acting and what is reality, because they operate in their own reality. And therefore, when Baldoni has shown affection towards her because his character needs to do so, a narcissist will likely translate that as genuine affection. And therefore, not only as a consequence of working closely together, but the circumstances of their interaction being one where it's an emotionally charged and emotionally intense production, Lively's narcissism will have caused her to look upon Baldoni as a potential target to be controlled, to draw fuel from. And it may well be the case that something physical had happened between them, or, and I think this is probably more likely, Lively has flirted with Baldoni, has given him the glad eye, has encouraged him, and whilst he has been friendly with her, he didn't cross the Rubicon to consummate what she was seeking, and indeed may well have rejected her. Rejection never sits well with the narcissist, because the narcissist believes that they are attractive to everybody, as a friend, as a lover, as a potential spouse, as a colleague, as a business partner, whatever it might be. By telling the narcissist that they are not wanted, that strikes at the heart of the concept of the narcissist's existence. But everybody wants me, I'm me. It threatens that need for control because that individual is demonstrating you don't control me. You don't get to tell me what to do. You don't make me get in a relationship with you. And that hypersensitivity to control becomes affected by this rebuttal. Given Lively's status as a narcissist, she would not respect Baldoni's existing marriage, nor would she respect her own. That marriage serves a purpose because of the cementation between her and Reynolds, something I examined separately. But she doesn't respect it. She'll say she does so, but her narcissism will allow her to cheat, should it deem that it's appropriate to do so. Accordingly, she makes some form of move towards Baldoni, he rejects her. This results in her fury igniting. In order to assert control over Baldoni thereafter, she accuses him of sexual harassment, thus nullifying the threat to control posed by his rejection of her. But there's also more to this. Reynolds has form, just like Lively, for having interactions with co-stars, even more so. He knows what goes on set. His wife is his possession. He sees her with a handsome man, knows what goes on, and believes that there's something taking place between them. For once, his paranoia is right. He issues an accusation towards his wife in order to assert control over her, and she does the typical response of a narcissist accused of infidelity: denial. But also, denial combined with blame shifting. I haven't done anything wrong. He came after me. Rescue me, Ryan. Justin is the perpetrator. It is common for the narcissist to create a drama triangle. And in doing so, what the narcissist does in order to assert control and draw fuel is play the role of victim for themselves, even though they're the perpetrator. They then look for a rescuer, and they label the true victim, who is Baldoni, as the perpetrator. Accordingly, Lively casts herself as victim to be rescued by Reynolds while she's being subjected to the predatory behaviour of Baldoni. This enables her to assert control by claiming that she is the victim, nullifying the rejection. It allows her to assert control over her husband because he sees himself as protecting his wife and going after the real perpetrator, in his eyes, Baldoni. Hence the interjections by Reynolds, where he threatened Baldoni on Baldoni's evidence when there was a meeting at their apartment in New York, the way that Reynolds reacted with heated fury towards Baldoni. And thus, the sequence will have been, there was a closeness between Lively and Baldoni. Her narcissism misinterprets that as something more, causes her to make a move on him. He rejects her. She seeks to nullify that threat to control, along with the fact that Reynolds suspects that there's something going on between the two of them. He accuses her. She nullifies that threat to control by saying, I haven't done anything, Justin's the one that's been chasing me. He is an abuser and a sexual harasser. In order to make good on that, and also because that is a convenient explanation for Reynolds, yes, my wife wouldn't cheat on me. After all, I am the gorgeous and snarky Ryan Reynolds. It's clear that we have this interloper, this unpleasant predatory man. He's disgusting. Let's bring him down. And thus the two conspire in order to assert control over Baldoni by making out that he is the problem. As part of that, it's suggested that he has concocted a smear campaign, which is a massive dose of projection on the part of Lively and Reynolds. But there's also another aspect to this that sits alongside the drama triangle that has occurred, and that is a substantial residual benefit. As you will know from the analysis of Lively, she admitted on a couple of occasions of the necessity of essentially inserting herself into productions so that she would be more than an actress, that she would contribute to the writing, that in effect she would take over the production, that she wanted to be able to do that. It's evident that she sought to do that with It Ends With Us, not only because of the unfettered nature of her sense of entitlement, but also because she and Reynolds recognise that the film was successful and there was the opportunity for a sequel which they could hijack for monetary gain, i.e. a residual benefit. The author, Hoover, initially at least sided with Lively, not following Baldoni on social media, and if I remember correctly, unfollowing him. And it would appear that the author was Team Lively, which would suit Lively with regard to optioning the rights to follow up with a sequel, which would likely be successful based on the financial success of It Ends With Us. Accordingly, once again demonstrating the way that the narcissist tramples on the rights of others without due regard for how it impacts upon them, flexing that sense of entitlement in the pursuit of a residual benefit, it would seem to me that the allegations of sexual harassment have run alongside with this desire to take the production for herself and that of Reynolds, and in so doing be part of the desire to crush Baldoni, to punish him for his perceived transgression with regard to the issue of control, but to go even further by taking away his production from him, by taking away the opportunity for him to have a sequel, to tarnish his professional reputation, to grind him into the dust and financially ruin him on the basis of, you do not cross us. Understanding the narcissism of both Lively and Reynolds demonstrates the motivating factors, the absence of emotional empathy, the sense of entitlement, the lack of conscience and guilt, the absence of accountability, the complete failure to recognise the boundaries in relation to other people. And because of that innate need for control, with it having been threatened by the rejection of Lively, she turns around and blames Baldoni, thus allowing her to nullify the threat to control from Reynolds in relation to his allegations against her, and then the two conspire to ruin Baldoni by getting hold of a residual benefit and punishing him for his perceived transgression. That is what is behind everything that has gone on with these three individuals. Do you agree? Do you agree that the narcissism of Lively and Reynolds has operated in such a way to cause this? Or do you have an alternative theory as to what's gone on? If so, please do share it in the comments. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.